Yo, 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 you know what time it is. The number one show in SimWorld. Get that ass up, cut the volume up. It is time for Blazing Takes. I am Rick Blaze, and of course, I'm joined by my everyday brother, Siege. How are we doing today?
Oh, we're doing lovely, Rick. I'm excited to hop into a new region we got today.
Yep.
Talk about some new teams, some stateside teams. Now we hit all the intercontinental teams, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick us right off. We're gonna head on down south. We're gonna hit the southern region, and
Okay.
we're gonna talk first. Let's talk about Southeast Select. You know, made the chip last year. Has made the chip the last 2 years. They lost Trey Turner. That's the elephant in the room. No Trey Turner.
Mhm.
What is the game plan here? So, looking at their roster, you want to highlight a couple of guys that will likely be, their big players here. Gabe Pope, that's number one, leader on that team, defensive specialist, facilitates well, and we've seen his scoring kind of uptick over the last season. It was noticeable, his improvement in that area. They've still got their two, big guys in Kadarius Stack Jr. and Keandre Baldridge. They lost Manasseh Warnick, but they added a 7-footer to go with those two 6'10" guys in Breck
Right.
Backer. Slight frame, only 192 at 7 foot, but he's very mobile for a big guy, so that'll hopefully be helpful. And the other big guy that they added that I think, not a big guy, but the big name they added to me, who I think is going to be a key player in kind of covering up for the loss of Terrell Pearson and Trey Turner, is going to be Dexter Jackson. Another small guard. He can facilitate well. He can create his own shot. He's athletic. And they're returning Coco Bryce, in the backcourt. Athlete from the UK, good defender. They'd like to see him kind of up his game. But the key components to this team are going to be Gabe Pope and Dexter Jackson. Those are going to kind of be the guys who are going to have to step up and cover that production from Trey Turner. So what's your thoughts on this team?
I tend to beg to differ, and I know Coach Lee is like, "Oh man, Rick just Blaze just be hating on." I don't. I'm not. I'm really not. But their strengths last season was two things: their team defense and their perimeter offense, mainly Trey Turner.
Yep.
Their perimeter offense has taken a large hit this season. They don't have the same type of guys who can make those shots in perimeter. They only got two guys that's even considered a really good shooter. And that's Dishman and Genevieve, both new to the team. So their perimeter offense shooting is not the same as it was last year. And also their defense, team defense, is not the same as it was last year either. Besides Gabe Pope on the perimeter, they don't really have no one that can really just lock somebody up. I mean, it is what it is. So I think they should completely abandon last year's philosophy and go with something totally different this season. I think they should play inside out. The
Mm.
strength on their team this season is from the big fellas. You got you said Bracker, you got Baldridge, Darius Stack Jr. I like Dexter Jackson's a fine player. I think Gabe Polk is going to have an uptick offensively, but I don't think Dexter Jackson and Gabe Polk is going to just set the world on fire from an offensive standpoint.
Yep.
So you need to go inside out, in my opinion. Now I'm very aware that Coach Lee is going to do what Coach Lee is going to do, and Coach Lee is a two-time participant in the race to one finals. So hell, whatever he decides to do, it's cool with me. He's proven that he has the moxie, he has the chops, he has the know how to get it done. So I'm not going to disagree with whatever he decides to do. But I say this: if he takes this team to the finals, I don't even care if he wins it. If he takes this team to the finals this season, this, in my opinion, will be the greatest accomplishment Coach Lee has ever done here in SimWorld Prep. Because he
Yeah,
got his work cut out for
I
the season.
I kind of like what you're saying about playing inside out. I think that could be an approach to take. Really, their key factor, which I don't think they should change, is going to be their emphasis on team defense. And that goes back to the big fellas as well. The perimeter defenders will be fine. I kind of see Coco Bryce stepping up into that Terrell Pearson role. He can defend. He's a good athlete. He's not quite as good of a shooter, or he wasn't last year, as Terrell Pearson, but I think he can step up into that role. Gabe Pope, I don't really see him being able to. I don't think it's right to ask him to cover for what Trey Turner did, because he's a completely different player, and he's just not going to have that kind of output. He's just not. But that being said, we're talking about the big fellas. This team does have some really good size. There are not a lot of teams that have three guys 6'10" or above. Them and I think the Originators are two of the only teams I can think of off the top of my head that do have that kind of size. So with that being said, playing inside out is not a terrible idea, but they will need their guards to step up perimeter defense-wise and shot making, because to play inside out, someone's got to be able to shoot. So for me, that's you mentioned him, Dexter Jackson. I don't think we're looking for him to be anything other than a good 3-and-D player, if you ask me. He's not the best shooter right now, but I think we've got to get that confidence up, get him shooting the ball. Obviously, Dishman can shoot. Those are the things I'm looking for this team to be successful. But like you said, Coach Brad Lee is one of those coaches that he's very quiet. You don't hear from him a lot, but you trust that whatever he's going to decide to do is going to win some games. And because of that, I don't know exactly what they do, but I know that they keep the emphasis on defense because they've got athletes, they've got big fellas. So I'm kind of expecting them to do something similar where they kind of wear you down defensively, maybe play inside out, beat you up inside, and just wear you down over the course of a game to the point where you're just not going to score more than them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, unlike last year, though, this year they're not going to be able to come back from behind this year like they did last year.
Exactly.
You don't have the offensive firepower, or if you get down double digits in the third and fourth quarter, you can just turn it on. And Trey Turner's not walking back in that building. Dexter Jackson is not Trey Turner.
No.
So they're going to have to keep the games close. They're going to have to muck it up a bit and play some real mucky basketball. But that's what they're gonna do to win. At least that's how I feel. Coach Lee might feel his own way, and he's entitled. He's earned the right to say however he wants to say about what the team is gonna be doing this season.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more on that take. So I'm excited to see him. And look, I just got to end the Southeast Select team preview. I'll hold true to my prediction. I expect to see them as one of the last four teams in the race to one again.
Oh no!
Oh yeah,
no.
I've been saying it all off season. Ever
I'm
since last
taking
season, I'll say it again.
taking all bets on that one.
Yeah, I'll take that bet, bro. I don't know what it is. I don't know what my confidence is. I think Gabe Pope does take a jump. I think at least one of these other guards they have does take a pretty big step onto the scene, whether that be Olvin Carvalho, Coco, Bryce, Dexter Jackson, Dishman. One of them, they got a lot of guards, and one or a couple of them is going to be better than we expect. And I think Coach Brad Lee, maybe not to the finals, but finds a way to get them to the last four teams standing. So
you're saying you're going on record right now that Southeast is going to be a Final Four team.
I've been on record saying that.
I can't wait.
I've been on record saying that, and I'll stick to it. I
can't wait.
But all that said, Rick, we'll revisit that one, whether it's a bad take, good take. We'll revisit it. But let's talk about one of the more interesting teams this offseason, the Yacht Club. Let's talk about the Yacht Club. So the Yacht Club's got kind of a big three going, although more than three guys you could put in a big three for some teams. But big three going, brought in the shocking move by Xavier Pope. When he came back, everyone kind of expected him go right back to Bay Area. That was the story, but he's down in Miami with the Yacht Club. De'Aaron Cruz departed Gulf Coast Lockdown. He's down with the Yacht Club. And then they've got the returning guy in Trey Willis, freak athlete, speedy guy, can slam it. Those are kind of their big three guys, but there's almost just too many players to talk about on this team. Because you got Koya Monroe, who was Florida's Mr. Basketball. He came in. Tyshawn Ism, who's a top 50 player, kind of one of those grindy, do-it-all big men, almost reminiscent of a Draymond Green the way he plays. You got Josiah Cook, big man, who they brought in, another really good player, but offensively won't take up too many touches. Tamir Johnson showed last year. He's a 6'5 forward who can kind of do a lot of things. Darius McBride, quick little. I mean, like I said, I could sit here and list all of the players on this roster, and they would all sound good. But those are the three we're going to be watching: Trey Willis, De'Aaron Cruz, and Xavier Pope to kind of be the guys for this team. Now, that being said, because they have so many guys, Rick, I think this whole team, whether they sink or swim, is all on Coach Laster because they have more talent than I think any roster we've seen in SimWorld Prep before. And yes, I'm saying more talent than Bay Area had last year. I think they have more talent than the Originators have this year. They're deeper in talent. I mean, this is, to me, the most loaded team we have seen in SimWorld Prep. So that is going to put a lot of pressure on Coach Laster, but if he can figure it out, I mean, props to you.
This yacht club, this team to me is the definition of collector's items, collection of talent. There are a lot of talent that he collected on this team, but I don't think they mesh perfectly well together. I mean, he has a team full of at least three guys for sure that are ball dominant guys, which means they have to have the ball in their hands to be effective. Darren Cruz, Xavier Pope, Trey Willis. Those guys have to have the ball in their hands to be effective. So if you have three, and I don't even know if those three guys are starting together. Maybe they are, maybe not. I have no idea, but they are rhythm players. I mean, they have to have the ball in their hand in order to get into rhythm to be effective offensively for the team. I don't know how this is going to work out. And then you go from those guys to a bunch of rim runners. There's nobody to spread the floor. There's no bona fide outside shooters on the team.
No shooters.
I mean, it's just going to be they don't have no really perimeter stoppers. I don't know what the hell is going on down there in the yacht club. I don't know what coach. Hey, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't see it. It ain't for me to see. It's not my team. But Coach Laster is going to have to show me something because I don't know what kind of system that you're going to run to get the most out of these guys the way they're currently constructed. Whoa. You got ball dominant guards who needs the ball in their hands, and you have. So it's like we're gonna drive to the basket, or we're gonna have our rebound, our big man pick up the rebounds off the glass. And then that's gonna be it. There's no besides Xavier Pope. I don't trust anybody else to get a perimeter shot off and be consistent.
Garrett Hart, I'll say Garrett Hart. He showed flashes last year of being able to shoot the ball, but other than those two,
I don't need flashes. I need somebody who can I need somebody I can count on. When they behind that line, that ball get kicked out, they can nail a jumper.
Well, Garrett, those flashes all came in the fourth quarter of big games last year. Garrett Hart hit some big shots last year, so I'm gonna give him his props there. But even then, you got two guys that you feel comfortable with taking a jumper. It's not ideal.
Bro, I don't. This is the one team that I don't have a strategy for. I have no idea. And again, maybe Coach Laster is smarter than me. Maybe smarter than all of us. He got the whole thing figured out. I have no idea. But one thing's for sure, we damn sure gonna find out. I got this team with a collection of talent, but I'll be honest, I don't see them winning no more than like 15 games.
Well, we want to talk strategy. I think when looking at the way he constructed this roster in the offseason, they found some success last year in one thing, and that was playing fast. Through Dominic Bianco, they lost Bianco, but looking at the way he constructed this offseason, to me, screams he's running with that. He is running with that ideology of we are going to run up and down the court. That's what we're going to do. Here's the thing. They've got rim runners, but not a lot of size. Josiah Cook's the only guy over 6'9" at 6'11". Then there's Tyshawn Ism at 6'9", and then after that, there's a big drop-off in size. So this is going to be a fast-paced team. Obviously, and this goes without saying, we all know it, he went out and recruited Darren Cruz heavy because he's the only guy in SimWorld Prep this year who could even somewhat replicate the way that Bianco was playing last year. My thing is, like you said, Xavier Pope's got to have the ball in his hand, and he's not necessarily an up-and-down-the-court guy. He's got a great mid-range shot.
Gotta have it.
He's great in the half court as a ball dominant guy. So I'm like you said, I don't really know what's going on, and that's why I think this is all on Coach Laster. This is going to be Coach Laster's make or break season of him either showing us that he can coach up a group of talented players no matter what, or him saying I maybe bit off a bit more than I could chew. So we'll see how that one goes. I'm definitely interested to see both of these teams this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch these guys play. I'm very interested to see how Yacht Club is going to play. And it's yeah. I mean, he's gonna have to go with the fast pace option, but it's just teams historically when they play fast pace. When you think about the Golden, when you think about the old Golden State Warriors, when you think about the Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns, they all ran a quick pace, but one thing they all had was shooters.
Yeah.
You gotta have shooters, and so he doesn't. So all the action's gonna be going a beeline to the basket. 'Cause I don't see any shooters again. We gonna see, bro.
That we
We
will.
gonna see. We gonna see. Put
That
in
we
the
will.
chat. That's our two. We come with two more from the Southern region on tomorrow. Make sure you put in the chat. Let's cuss and discuss how you feel about Southeast Select. I know Coach Lee gonna have something to say to me about it. How do you feel about the Yacht Club? What's your pros? What's your cons? What y'all feeling? Let's cuss and discuss. See, any other words before we get out of here?
I'll see y'all on tomorrow.
There you go.